Hi guys, so I'm here in my house and I have your pea plants and I have a couple other plants and I want to talk about the homework assignment that I gave you. Hopefully you've gotten through these. You should be on the last one today on how plants grow. The first thing I want to show you are your pea plants. So I'm going to have Hunter kind of zoom in here. You can see all the pea plants here on this tray, and there's some over here. And I have a few still in the window because there's just a lot of plants. Okay, zoom back out to me, Hunter. Okay, so what you read about on lesson 1 was that plants make their own food. And of course, you know plants have leaves. Can you get this leaf, Hunter? So you can see that on your pea plants, there's 2 leaves on each side of this stem that is growing longer and longer. Some of these are a couple of feet long already. Some of them are still kind of short, but some of them are really long and they're viney. And you can see they have these little like fingers that want to reach out and grab something else. You can see these little sprouts right here on the end. And that's a really healthy pea plant. And pea plants will grow many feet tall, and you can make a big arch for them, and they can grow up onto your arch. These leaves have lots of different cells, and the outside of the leaf, the part that you see, the part that you can touch, so this part right here that I'm touching right now, take a step back, Hunter, so you can get all of this in here. The part that I'm touching right now, this is called the epidermis, and it's kind of like the layer of your skin. It's kind of spongy, it lets air pass through. Plants, of course, need sunlight to grow. This window that I have here, this faces south and east, and so this is an ideal window. They get a lot of morning sun and a lot of midday sun, and then when it starts to get really hot in the afternoon, that's kind of on the other side of our house. So this is a really great window to start things. For a plant to grow, they have something called chloroplasts. And those are cells that are inside of them, inside their seed, and they do something called photosynthesis. And photosynthesis is when plants take sunlight. These are green bean plants here that I have. The sunlight reaches the leaf, and there's chloroplasts in there. And the chloroplasts change that sunlight into glucose, and that is food for the plant. And so the plant grows bigger and bigger. Along with sunlight, of course, we know that all plants need to have roots, and their root system is really important. So I'm going to take this little guy. This is Blake's. It didn't grow very well. It kind of started and then it just kind of stopped. So I'm going to take Blake's apart and transplant it today. But I just want to show you, nope, not that one. That one's not doing very well. I wanted to show you how that one was looking.
Rocket.
So why don't I take one of, let's see, do I have a different one? Why don't I take one of my green beans? So if I pull one of these green beans out, these guys are really healthy, so I'm not too worried. I feel like I can transplant it, no problem. So here I have a green bean, and you can see that it has some big broad leaves, and then a couple small ones at the top. And then there's a little bud right here. Can you see that little bud? Eventually that's going to turn into a flower and we're going to get green beans. But to look at the root system, you can see that this green bean plant has a root ball, and then it has these roots. This is called the taproot. These taproots, this one has a couple. Trees have really big taproots, but these are kind of smaller. This taproot is going to hold it down in the ground so that when the wind blows, woo, it's windy today, it doesn't blow it over and break it. And also, it helps it to branch out. These green beans that I have in my house are pretty much, they're hoping I take them outside and put them in something bigger. They're feeling kind of squished in there. Okay, so lesson 1 on the back side, it says what part of the leaf can be compared to your skin? That would be the epidermis, which is what you can feel, and it's kind of like our skin. It protects the plant. Describe the purpose and processes of photosynthesis. How does the process change during the day? Sunlight comes in, it hits the chloroplasts. The chloroplasts are cells inside the plant, changes it into glucose, and the plant uses it as food. How does photosynthesis in plants benefit animals? Well, photosynthesis, that's a good question. What did I say there? Oh, photosynthesis makes oxygen, And that helps all of us to breathe because we want to breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is what they need to make the conversion of photosynthesis into glucose. What is one cause of oxygen being found in the atmosphere? So, what is one cause? Some of the oxygen. Oxygen naturally occurs in our, I'm not sure what the answer to that one is. What is one cause of oxygen being found in the atmosphere? It's given off by plants. That's what the answer is. I'm on the spot here, sorry. It's given off by the plants. So the plants release those oxygen, which we breathe in. We release carbon dioxide, which they breathe in. Okay, so lesson 2, how do stems and roots help a plant? So you know stems grow on all kinds of different plants. Now my green bean plants, this has kind of a more woody stem. These are a little bit harder compared to, Hunter, can you zoom in on those pea plants right there? You can see that on these pea plants, this is a little bit thinner and this doesn't want to make it stand straight up. This kind of a stem makes the plant want to vine and grow. There's 2 kinds of tissues, the xylem and phloem. Carries water and minerals down to the roots is the xylem, and the phloem takes the sugar to the leaves. We have woody stems, and then we have non-woody stems. Of course, our trees are real woody, really thick, actually made of wood. And these stems are not as woody. They have less of what's called the xylem, and so the pea plants, dandelions, these little guys right here that are coming up, these are cucumbers, so eventually those guys are going to be cucumbers. And they all have roots, whether it's a teeny tiny itty bitty cucumber, a little bit bigger cucumber, or one of these big pea plants, or the green bean plants, or one of the trees outside. They all have roots. Roots hold the plants in place and helps transfer nutrients and minerals from the soil to keep our plants nice and healthy. Finally, how do plants grow? Well, all plants have DNA, kind of like people, and inside that DNA are different cells that turn on, and it tells the plant what to do. It tells the cells where to go. It recognizes it if it's going to be a green bean plant, or if it's going to be a cucumber plant, or if it's going to be a pea plant, or something else. There's something called tropism, and there's a couple of different kinds of tropism. So there's gravitropism, which means that the plants grow towards or against gravity. Gravity is the pull. Obviously, we know it pulls us down. And so most plants grow against the gravity and actually grow up, even though gravity is pushing down on them. They're stronger than the gravity. We do know of some plants like carrots, even though they send a stem, the basis of the vegetable, carrots, turnips, radishes, beets, they grow down into the ground. Phototropism is how a plant reacts to light. So as you can see, Hunter, kind of pan out a little bit so we can show, stay on that side though, because otherwise the sun's too bright. We can show these green beans. Can you see how, look at this green bean right here, and these in the front. Can you see how they're all slanted? That's called phototropism. And so these plants are growing towards the light, and they're trying to find that light. And that's a good thing, Hunter, pay attention to me. That's a good thing because if they didn't, they might die. Same thing with these. You can see these pea plants right here. I don't know whose this is. This is Addison's. You can see right here, it kind of goes down and it makes this hook and it comes up. These pea plants are fighting for this light. They're trying to get as much sunlight as possible. So the pea plants that are still in the window, they needed a little bit more help. And the ones that I put on this tray down here, they were big enough and long enough for me to be able to put on this bottom row, because I knew with phototropism they'd be able to make it to the light and stay alive. Then there's stigmatropism. So it's a plant's growth due to touching an object. For example, if a tree puts its roots down into a rock or next to a rock, if there's dirt, it'll grow around that rock and it'll continue to spread. It won't just be stuck and die. Larger hormones can make growth cells. A growth hormone is a chemical. Some cells have more growth hormones than others, and all of these plants have growth hormones. Water can change the size of a plant. Water cells are stored in the vacuoles. This can increase a bend in a plant or just make it grow larger. If you get to your final question, it says, Keisha plants a seed in moist, cold soil by her home. The seed doesn't sprout. What condition would you infer most likely needs to change for the seed to sprout? So either one of two things. Either the plant needs to be warm and the soil was too cold, or the water was too cold, or she may have overwatered it. Sometimes that happens where we think our plants need to be really, really wet and we actually kind of drown them. So there's a couple of different things that could probably happen. I would dry out that soil a little bit and I would probably warm it up. The final thing that I want you to know about your pea plants is no, you're not going to get them back. I'm taking your pea plants over to the garden across from the YMCA in about 3 weeks, so right around the 1st of May. And these pea plants are going to be in the community garden. So you can go there anytime. It's on Pine Street across from the Y. You can go there anytime and you can look at your pea plant or water your plants or pick the peas. They're not going to be going back home with you, even if you planted an extra one. So I had a couple kids ask me about that in the last week. So I hope you enjoyed seeing your peas. Hunter, can you kind of get this whole thing? I've got lots of different plants growing at my house. If you can get a chance, keep on me. If you can get a chance, it'd be nice if you could grow a little garden at your house. Find a window that faces the south, get some dirt, stick them in it, put them on a shelf, and keep them watered and happy and healthy. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you soon.